Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here. My name is Abigail Leader. I am the Director of Experiential Education and Prevention Initiatives with the Office of the Dean of Students. And in that role, I get to work with Rehearsals for Life, which is a group of graduate students from a variety of different disciplines across campus and some non-traditional students. And we're super excited to share a little bit about what we do with you all and welcome you to U of O. So I'm going to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves. Bailey?
Hi everyone, my name is Bailey. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am currently going into my second year of getting my master's in the Conflict and Dispute Resolution program. I've been involved in RFL for a little over a year now, and going into this year, I'll actually be one of the student directors of RFL, which is super exciting. And I joined RFL because it gave me the opportunity to start applying some of those skills I was learning in my program, while also getting to teach a lot of those to other people as well, overall just making campus more safe and inclusive. And I will pass it to Serena.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Bailey. My name is Serena Thomas. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm actually undergrad in my final year of architecture, cultural anthropology, and I'm minoring in planning, public policy, and management. And I am planning to apply for grad school this coming year. So I've been involved with RFL just over the past year. And I joined because RFL was the only organization that I have encountered that does more than just talk about the issues and isms that we face in society, and that we are actually working and inviting our community to actively participate in inclusivity. And I will pass to Kellen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kellen Tate Jones. My pronouns are she or they, and I am a fifth-year PhD candidate in the Earth Science Department studying vertebrate paleontology. And I joined RFL because I wanted a community that would support me as I was questioning and unpacking my own biases, as well as helping me to have those conversations about different prejudices and oppressive structures in our communities, and to help to facilitate those kinds of conversations amongst my peers and my professional colleagues. And I will pass to Z.
Hello, my name is Z, she, her. I am the third-year graduate student studying drama therapy program in California. I have been an intern in RFL since last year. The reason I'm here is I feel it's a way to make myself stand up when something is wrong. So yeah, I will pass to Serena.
So today we're going to give you a little example of some of the things that we do in our workshops, to give you a sense of our work and also to share more about ourselves. So we're going to do an activity we call story weaving, where a few of the members of RFL share some of our life experiences. Story weaving provides a forum in which invisible identities and identities not often discussed in academic settings are brought to the forefront and are seen and discussed. So story weaving shows all students, professors, and community members are human beings with different and similar experiences. Story weaving helps us to build empathy towards one another, and it shows positive aspects to all the different identities on campus.
And I just want to share that some of the stories that we tell can be emotionally intense. We include stories that reference suicidal ideation, bullying, xenophobia, and racism. And we want to encourage you to do what's best for yourself mentally and emotionally as you watch. And now we're actually going to share some of these personal stories with you.
I was born in California, and by the time I was 7, I lived on 2 continents and attended 4 different schools. I remember how much fun I had learning new words. It was like playing. Each syllable had a beauty and shape that connected and separated from the ones before and after in a liquid flow of sound. Learning new meanings and fitting them together made me catch my breath. At 9 years old, I was reading adult novels for entertainment, but I was still 7 when I started 3rd grade, began studying at the 5th school, and met my first white teacher. I was also 7 when I began to doubt my sanity and my worth. The school day was over, the last bell had rung, and we'd been dismissed. My heart thumped uncomfortably against my chest, eyes hot and throat so tight I struggled to swallow. My teacher's words circled in my head. You got the answer wrong, Serena, and that's the end of it. I looked down at my desk, and the red X on my otherwise pristine sheet of lined paper swam in and out of focus, glaring at me. MINUTE, minute. I went back and forth, her words ringing in my ears. You're wrong, Serena, and I don't want to hear any more about it. As letter by letter, I compared the word in my head to the one on the spelling list, and then to the one I'd so carefully inscribed next to the number 12 on my spelling test. And then I pulled out the dictionary. MINUTE, minute.
I once blew up a McDonald's bathroom. My antidepressant wasn't working for me, like really wasn't working for me. Suffice it to say that there were some bodily functions that just weren't happening, like ever. I'm talking constipation from hell. So I reported this to my doctor, and she told me to just quit taking this Alexa. You'll be going again in no time, she said confidently. Besides, you're almost done with nursing school, and then you won't need your antidepressant anymore anyways. I had some serious doubts about the lack of need for my antidepressant, according to my doctor, but hey, she had the medical degree and I was getting desperate. 4 days after going cold turkey off of my medication, I was on a long car ride with several other nursing students when suddenly it hit. Pull over, I yelled. That McDonald's there, pull over. 30 seconds later, the ticking time bomb that was my intestinal system went off. I made it into the bathroom, but not into the stall. And the hastily eaten remains of our bueno burrito suddenly painted the walls like a Jackson Pollock. When I was finally able to drag my half-dead body out of the bathroom 20 minutes later, I left a $20 bill in the mirror for the janitors, but was too embarrassed to say anything. Well, time went on. My intestinal system returned to normal. I graduated nursing school, started a new job, moved into a new apartment. But 3 months after the McDonald's incident, I attempted suicide.
I came to the United States on July 29th, 2019. It was a nice day. I cried on the plane, saying goodbye to my family, ready to pursue my dream. I knew my life was gonna change. When I was in Taiwan, I always thought, I am the perfect girl. People like me. People love the girl who looks pretty, who works hard, who smiles all the time, who tries to contribute to this world with a good heart. Maybe not that smart, but she keeps trying. And that's me. I am that girl. People like me. Of course, I have lots of struggles in my life or lack of confidence sometimes, but in the deep side of my mind, I believe I can deal with it in the end. I have lots of good labels on me, and those labels create privilege for me. I graduated from the best high school and university in Taiwan, which means I am in the top 5% of people in my society. I could easily share my perspectives in the room. My family is not rich, maybe kind of poor, but I worked hard. I got the full scholarship from my government to come to the United States. I always had a romantic relationship. In a relationship, sometimes it's like I don't need to prove myself, and people will know that someone loves and appreciates me because I'm good. And after July 29th, 2019, my life changed. In the classroom, on one of the first days of school, I want to share my perspective. After I spoke, people looked at me like they didn't understand what I was saying. I heard my heart beat so fast, and my voice was trembling. In the end, the professor switched the topic right before I finished my speech. I was confused. Did they really listen to me? Did that mean I should shut up?
That was my first but not my last lesson in discrimination in academia. Of course, at the time, I had no idea what was happening. All I knew was that I hadn't made a mistake. All the way home, I stared at that paper and I wondered if I'd missed a letter while I was studying, or maybe I was reading my test wrong, or was I reading her list wrong? I worried there was something wrong with me, that what I was seeing when I compared my test to her list wasn't real. Had I messed up on the exam and I just couldn't see it? Monday, I went back to school and looked that teacher in the face while she handed out the next spelling list. And that Friday, she misgraded my spelling test again, number 13, mountain, Mountain. That year, I was accused of cheating 3 times, once in front of the whole class. That time, she docked my grade 50% for writing down the correct answers as she gave them to us. And no one else got in trouble. Year after year, I encountered instructors that accused me of cheating on exams or plagiarizing papers, and every year, at least one instructor, more often multiples, would choose humiliation as my learning modality. It wasn't lost on me that there was a distinct difference in how I was treated. Disagreements between classmates and myself would end with me in the principal's office. Seatmates would raise their hands to ask questions or ask for instructions to be repeated. When I raised my hand and asked for clarification on a point in the lesson, I was told that I should have read the text. When I asked for help on an assignment, I was told no one else needed help and shouldn't I get to work? I learned not to share my thoughts or to disagree. I learned not to ask questions and never to ask for help.
I learned to hate myself from a very young age. From preschool onward, I was the star student, the teacher's pet, the ultimate overachiever. But at the same time that I was mastering the basics of math and grammar, I was also memorizing the vocabulary of self-loathing. Stupid, annoying, fat, awkward, worthless. And I think that at least some people may have had some idea of what was happening inside of me. My mom told me always to make a decision for happiness, but all that did was piss me off. So I didn't express to anyone what was going on inside of me. I believed there was something inherently wrong with me. A few weeks after graduating from nursing school, I learned that my then boyfriend was cheating on me. And of course, I broke up with him. But in an attempt to be the so-called better person, I didn't tell any of our friends why. And so, of course, they all sided with him. And all at once, I was completely alone in a new city, with no friends and nothing but the demons in my head to keep me company. And let me just tell you, they had a field day. Didn't we tell you that you're worthless? They crooned. Didn't we tell you no one would ever love you, that no one could ever be your friend? And over the weeks of listening to these voices in my head, I grew sick. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And I spent hours sitting alone in the darkness of my apartment thinking about killing myself. Do it, the demons crooned. No one would even miss you. Do it and die, you worthless piece of shit. It was my mother who found me alone in my apartment, sitting with a knife in one hand and a pill bottle in the other, trying to decide between these two different ways to take myself out of this world. And after all of those years of telling me about that so-called decision for happiness, she finally saw what was actually happening. She took me straight to the emergency room.
Dating here, it's also hard. In the United States, I'm not that cute girl anymore. I'm an immigrant. All the funny parts of me do not exist in this society. Every time people say some slang or a joke or just easy conversation, I will ask, what do you mean? When they sing songs from childhood, I can only smile. I don't have any connection to a popular cultural background. And yes, I date American guys. It is so confusing when they say maybe or probably or I will check with you. I wonder, what does that even mean? Some guy finally told me that if someone says maybe, that means 50% yes. If they say probably, it means it is 80% no. And if they say I will check with you later, that means 100% no. Is that even true? And what does we are more than friends mean anyway? I even date guys I would never ever date in Taiwan. I keep lowering my standards, but still, it's always fails. Every time at the end of this kind of friendship, I'm so confused. Am I like bad? Do they really see me for who I am or just see the labels on me? Asia, student, woman, immigrant.
I went from thinking this treatment is not right to taking responsibility for doing everything I could to try to make it better, to accepting their treatment of me. Eventually, I began believing this is normal, then a matter of course, then natural. I learned that I had no worth. My words could not be believed. My concerns and ideas should be met with dismissal and my presence with derision. That, for me, being talked down to, ignored, or humiliated was the natural order of things. Somewhere near the middle of my first attempt at a bachelor's degree, at about 29, I started going to therapy. I was angry, fearful, and in pain, but I'd been ignoring myself for so long, I didn't even know what I was struggling with. I've worked hard in therapy and learned that I was harboring a festering self-hatred that denied my right to life. And I began to learn to identify my emotions. I'm in my 40s now, and I'm learning compassion for myself, to be unflinching in the face of anti-Blackness, racism, and all of their painful tools. I'm learning to seek community, and after years of studying, observing, and forming opinions, I am learning to speak up and offer them. I'm learning to see that while I have many scars and flaws and problems, I am also wise, smart, and good. I tell myself that my words are valuable, my thoughts matter, and that yes, I know how to spell minute and mountain.
I emerged from the psych ward 3 days later, feeling approximately as stable as a house of cards in a Cat 5 hurricane. My head was still just ringing with the platitudes of the therapists and nurses about self-care and support systems and mindfulness and all of this other mental health jargon. But I was taking control of my life at last. I went to my therapy appointments. I took my new medication and I could still poop on these pills. And I made one really, really big change in my life. I talked about my depression. It suddenly seemed impossible not to. Like if you're missing an arm or a leg, it's bound to come up in conversation with new friends eventually. And to my surprise, this new openness began to leach power away from the demons. And over time, they became quieter, more docile. Over 7 years have passed since I was first admitted to the hospital. And I'll be honest, my depression is not cured. I certainly still have days or weeks where getting out of bed is about the hardest thing that I can imagine. COVID has not been easy. But on the other hand, I've also left a career that I ended up hating, pursued my lifelong dream of becoming a paleontologist, and even found a really happy, satisfying relationship with my current partner. But sometimes it's still hard. And in those moments, I have to remind myself, there is no cure for depression, but this journey that I'm on is nonetheless full of beauty and value and meaning. I am not cured, but neither am I defeated.
I have lots of doubts right now. It's make me wonder who I really am. My confidence is falling. Should I be what other people perceive, or should I be how they saw me in Taiwan? It is really easy to just use my smile to interact with others. I put on a happy, innocent mask on my face, but when I look back, I see confusion, distrust, and hatred. In the deep, deep, deep part of me, I have a lot of fear, anger, and embarrassment of talking to people. I've been in the United States for 2 years. Every time I join this kind of Zoom meeting, I need to tell myself, just go, you can do it. It is so easy for all the people, just talk. Is it that hard? Yeah, it is. I do have more understanding about feeling marginalized in the society. I know empathy is so important to everyone. I'm not that perfect girl anymore. I want people to see me, not just see my good or bad labels. I want people to see who I really am.
So I just want to thank you all for witnessing and listening to these stories. We absolutely understand that these can be really intense and impactful. So please take care of yourself. We would encourage you to take a moment to think about the things that you've heard, what you could relate to, what you found surprising, because this is what it means to connect on a human level. And that's part of what we are trying to build here with story weaving. So now I want to switch gears just a little bit and tell you about what we actually do on campus and what the workshops that we run for different campus organizations look like. So we do workshops all over campus. They can be for student groups, faculty groups, staff groups, all sorts of different organizations in the campus and Eugene community. These are interactive, participant interaction-based workshops that are specifically tailored for these different groups to practice effective bystander interventions. So we usually open our workshops with story weavings as a way to build empathy with our participants and to help them to get to know us a little bit. And by sharing our own vulnerability, we invite the audience to also be vulnerable with us. So within these workshops, we present different scenarios that are based on different situations that RFL members or participants in the workshops have experienced in which some sort of oppressive power structure is playing out in a conversation or an interaction between people. And then we play these scenes back again and invite audience members to actively participate as though they were there in that moment. So in this way, we provide a low pressure platform for people to practice intervening in those situations that are often really hard to sort of think on your feet in the moment, because we believe and have seen the power of practicing these things in helping people to actually have those difficult conversations, intervene in real life. And so through this framework, participants have the opportunity to have real life on the ground training in how to address difficult topics by engaging in our scenarios. So I will now pass it to Bailey to give you a little bit more information about how you can get involved in Rehearsals for Life.
Thank you, Kellen. Yeah, so for actual members of RFL, these workshops offer us a unique real-life opportunity to actually enhance our skills in constructing safe and welcoming spaces, facilitating these difficult discussions, as well as how to use our personal experiences or experiences that we've discussed with friends or family, other community members, and actually use those in a beneficial way to make our campus more equitable and inclusive. If all of this, as well as the opportunity to expand some of your skills in leadership and communication, you should definitely think about joining our wonderful theater troupe. On top of all of these professional benefits I just shared, this is also just a great way to create a supportive community for yourself on campus. One of my favorite parts of our weekly meetups is our check-ins, in which we provide each other the space to come together, share some of what we've been going through, and just give each other that love and support that we need. It always kind of leaves me feeling really heard and supported. So if you are interested, we typically have at least one meeting a week, as well as a few workshops each term. You aren't expected to attend every workshop we schedule, but the more the better. And additionally, just one last attempt to draw you in a little bit further. Each RFL member makes $500 a term. And as a fellow broke student, I know just how beneficial that money can be. But yeah, so I hope you are interested in potentially joining us.
Yeah, I really love this community and people really listen here.
I would definitely say for me, this has been probably my favorite part of graduate school. And even though I am a STEM graduate student, it has really directed my sort of professional interests in a very human direction. And I know for a fact that this experience will continue to shape my career probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah, Rehearsals for Life, you don't need to know how to run a workshop, or you don't even need to know how to talk about the various versions of isms that you've encountered or that you know must be out there because you've heard of them, but you've never seen them or experienced them. Because that's what RFL is about. It's about learning together and supporting together and getting better together.
So if you are interested in talking more about Rehearsals for Life, I'm going to give you my email address. It's ALEEDER, aleader@uoregon.edu. And yeah, I also want to say that we're definitely recruiting a few more folks to join us for the year. And it would be awesome to have some people that don't just identify as she or her, and mix it up a little bit. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time today to witness these stories and to be with us. And welcome to the U of O. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.